say that dreams come true, and when they do that, there's a beautiful thing.
My name is NHS Serrano. Welcome to Conversations of Consequence. Introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Heather Renaud, and I am a social studies teacher here at Perth Amboy High School. I teach within the Communications Academy, and I've known Angel J. Serrano for 3 years.
The J is crucial.
Very.
I already started it. I'm trying not to say
And now I'm going to say it. So.
Yeah. You recently had an event. How was that?
It's great. So we are very jam-packed here at Perth Amboy High School these last couple months. So we had our NHS Induction Ceremony. It was really a culmination of a lot of people's hard work and time. We had over 110. Now I'm doing it, see? Okay. Participants who were inducted into the ceremony. We weren't able to have it last year because of COVID. And so we were able to induct the kids who did not get inducted last year along with the new members this year. And it was really great. I was very stressed out because now I'm like...
You're a mess.
I'm a mess. All right. We are going to do this. So I was able to induct over 110 members within the NHS, and now we have close to 175, but we have 74 graduating. So we're looking to, which is crazy that there's 74 seniors leaving us. Many more seniors, but so we'll be able to get more people next year, and I'm excited about that. So.
How do you feel to see your seniors go after all these years?
So this is an easier question, I feel like, because I'm very sad. A lot of the seniors I've known since middle school. So there are many of them that I taught in 7th and 8th grade. So I've known them for how many years is that? I'm not a math genius, but about 6, going on 7 years, some of them. So I feel like I've known them since they were babies, little tiny babies, or more like awkward middle schoolers. Mm-hmm. Sometimes when I see them walking in the halls, I still can picture my room 343 in Shoal School. I see James being still James, but a little bit shorter, and maybe a higher voice, I knew all of them. And then even you guys, I've known since you were sophomores. So even if I didn't have you in middle school, I feel like 3 years, it's just going to be a very bittersweet. I'm very proud. I'm excited for all of you because everybody's going off on different paths and doing a lot of different amazing things. And I get to kind of watch from behind, we get to kind of watch and live vicariously through you. But it's going to be really sad because it's coming here was a little bit nerve-wracking, coming from the middle school, being there 9 years, being comfortable, mm-hmm. having your own classroom, knowing the people. Coming here it didn't feel like a totally new experience, but it was still nerve-wracking, coming into a new place with new colleagues and a new building. But what made it easier was knowing the kids. I felt like I was kind of coming home because they were here, weirdly kind of following them. And then even, through COVID and everything that's been going on, being able to go through that with you guys, I've always felt like a comfort level. And I feel like, in a way, you guys are a little bit of my security blanket, and you're leaving, which is, it's scary. It's exciting because then that allows for new people to come into my heart, and I get to embrace them. But then, it's kind of an end of a couple eras. I feel like my middle school kids, that I had since 7th grade, and then even you guys that I got to go through sophomore year, junior year, senior year with. So it's a lot of endings. So I'm feeling kind of, conflicted about it, but I'm sure I'll be crying.
We all will be.
Be crying, laughing, all the things, but I'm excited for you all. I feel like everybody's got different things that they're doing, and to think what we've been able to accomplish throughout the pandemic. I hate that we'll keep going back to the COVID and the pandemic all the time, but mm-hmm. to think that that's what our past 3 years was, and we were able to get through that, and that you guys are all be able to be successful and go do these great things. It's been pretty amazing to watch. So that's been the silver lining, I think, is that even when the days have been really long and tough for me, I know that we're all doing it together, and then to see your success on top of it has been pretty incredible. So I'm excited, I'm sad, I'm like feeling all the things, you know?
Yeah, it's understandable.
How are you feeling?
I am very anxious, as I should be, because like we have been, as much as like we complain about it, we have been very babied, and like
You guys have been babied?
yeah, we've been babied, and there's a lot of tough love here, but there's also like a lot of genuine and softy love. Like some teachers, like they'll be strict, and then they'll like go back on their word because they love their kids too much, you know.
Never too much, but I think it's hard. It's hard, you know, to draw hard lines in the sand, especially the last couple of years with the pandemic. I think we all have we all as staff teachers want to have the highest and highest expectations of everyone, but we all went through like a crazy crisis too. So it was like trying to give, you know, each other like space and grace and flexibility. But I think you're right. It's like now what's waiting for you guys on the other side is, you know, the unknown and what's life going to be like out there and what it's going to be like, you know, post-COVID and how like the whole world is recovering. So, you know, I can get that anxiety totally because it is a different place than we were in before. And now you're going into a whole different part of your life. But you also know you can always come back.
I wish.
Well, for support anyway.
Yeah,
you can always come back for support.
For
I mean, you can't
visits,
come
yeah,
back.
Yeah.
This isn't like, what was that movie with Adam Sandler?
Which one?
I don't know, 90s comedies, where he goes back to school. What is the one? I'm losing my
Oh
mind.
my God, the viewers are gonna kill me for this.
Adam Sandler.
I forgot.
Oh my God. We'll think about it by the end.
Yeah, well, we should get it by the end. Yeah. Sandlot? No.
No, that's a great
different
movie, but that's
Oh
a
my
great
God.
movie.
It is, it is.
Why did I also think that too? I thought The
He's wearing, like, a
Sandlot, but I
little
didn't say
goofy
it.
hat. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But you know what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
When he pretends to be like in kindergarten. What does he pretend to be in?
Oh my goodness.
I forget.
That's
I
not
haven't
Grown-Ups?
No.
Whatever. Okay.
We'll get back to it, but
Yeah, we will.
anybody, you know, comment when they see this.
Yeah,
like, let us
comment
know.
what the
because
movie is. 'Cause
I'm gonna
we're-
Google it as soon
yeah,
as I can.
We're not the brightest.
Not in ninth period.
At all. We're burnt out. Okay, so going back, it is crazy that like you went from middle school to high school and it feels like you're following us. But if you've seen Boy Meets World, another reference, Mr. Feeney left to go see his kids as well, and he
So are you calling me Mr. Feeney?
a young Mr. Feeney.
Okay.
Miss Feeney.
Younger.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, Mr. Feeney did it, and it was great for the kids. So we very much appreciate you, Renaud.
Yes, thank you. You're doing the Renaud heart. I do that in everything.
Why did you move from the middle school to the high school?
So I think a lot of people know this, but maybe not everybody. I always wanted to be a high school teacher. I never always wanted to be a high school teacher. I never wanted to be a teacher. It was one of those things that I decided later in life. Like I always wanted to be an attorney. I majored in political science and history. In the kind of path to go to law school, I wanted to get into politics and all those types of things. It didn't pan out. So I ended up going back to graduate school for teaching, and it's weird because I kind of sometimes I think back, you know, I've done this now 12 years, and like you kind of forget like why you start doing the things that you do, and I know this is the right place for me, but it was like a leap of faith because I was in a bit of a transition, and I realized I didn't want to go to law school. It wasn't what I had thought it was going to be. I worked as an intern in politics for a little while, and I became a little bit disappointed and disheartened with what I saw. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Like a lot of things in life, you know, you go in and you have, you know, these visions of visions of grandeur and that, you know, and it just wasn't. And it's hard for me even to describe that feeling now later on because obviously, you know, I'm a little bit older and wiser. But then I was kind of struggling with what I wanted to do. And so I always loved school. So I know that's not the reason to become a teacher, but school, when I was a kid, I moved around a lot, and there was a lot of like tumultuous times in my childhood, and school was always a place where I felt safe. And I don't even mean like physically safe. I just felt like I could be myself. And I got a lot of validation from school because I was really good at it. Like I was that student who was annoying probably, but, you know, type A. But I got a lot of validation from like, you know, my teachers.
Yeah.
And I needed that emotionally. And I got a lot of security from school. And so when I was kind of thinking about what could I do, I was like, well, what did I always love? You know, like what was there for me, like through all the tumultuous times in my childhood, like what did I always love doing? And it was school. And that was really, it's weird because that's really all I could think of. And then I was like, okay, well then I'll be a teacher. And so then I applied to be in the Graduate School of Education. I chose social studies because that was where my passion was, because I did find that in college I fell in love with history and political science and all the things. I still loved that. I just didn't want to do that every day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then I went and did that. I had the most amazing experience, great professors, got to travel, met great people along the way. And then it kind of led me, definitely not kind of, it led me here because I student taught in Perth Amboy High School. So I got placed here. And I really wanted to, and I loved it here. It's where that's how I know Ferraccio and Bouchard, like they were like young teachers when I student taught here. Like Miss Murillo had probably just graduated when I student taught, like a couple years after. I know, she's a little younger than me, but not by that much.
Oh, relax.
So like I was planning on working here, but when I graduated, there were no open positions. It was a weird year in education in New Jersey. Like the governor had cut a lot of funding, so like teachers were losing their jobs. Like, you know how we're going into like a teacher shortage now? Back then, like there was too many teachers. People were losing their positions. So getting a job was really tough. And I interviewed in a bunch of places, and then I got a call. There was nothing here, but there was an opening at Scholl School. And I never thought about teaching in a middle school. Like I wasn't even looking at middle school positions because I was like, I'm a high school teacher. Like just in my mind.
Yeah.
And so I went there just on a whim because it was Perth Amboy, and I had student taught here, and I really loved like the community. I had such a great experience. I had worked in the spring and I had done things, and I went and I got hired. And then, then they're like, okay, you're teaching middle school. And it was a weird thing to kind of, come to, I didn't know how to teach. I didn't know how to talk to middle schoolers. I got thrown into 6th grade my first year. So that's like elementary school almost, or coming out of. So I had to, figure out how to talk to 6th graders and what to do and how to teach them. And like, I didn't even know their vocabulary. I like to drop big words. I didn't know half the time what I was saying. It was like it was a learning experience. And then it just like flowed. That was my first year. I loved it. Then the next year I got moved to 7th and 8th grade. I ended up working with Miss Suarez. Many people know Miss Suarez, my bestie. We love you, Miss Suarez. And a lot of other great staff at Scholl. And then we just had a great family, a great team. Mr. Heidelberg, shout out, was our principal for a few years. We really held down that school, and it was a great experience. And I think it's made me a better high school teacher because I know developmentally where you guys come from. Because you could say, oh, we were all in middle school once, right? But until you teach middle school, you don't know how to interact and be with middle schoolers. And I think I think every high school teacher should teach middle school. You guys will hate me for saying this, seriously, but at least a year, because you learn how to, if you can develop genuine relationships with middle schoolers, and I know my middle school kids will be like, what are you talking about, miss? But if you can do that and they're I think that you can build a relationship with anybody. Because middle schoolers, a lot of emotions, up and down, hormones are flying, things are changing, all the things. School's kind of the last thing that middle schoolers want to think about. And so if you can make them love school, love your classroom, love you, or not even love you all the time, but just respect you and build a relationship, I think that just really has set me up for success. So coming to the high school, I'm not saying it's not hard. I mean, every day there's challenges, but they're different challenges, because I feel like what I got on lockdown is I'm here first for the kids, and I build relationships first, and that's always been kind of what I learned to do from middle school on. So the more challenging things now, I think, are just getting used to kind of the stuff that's out of my control, which is changing schedules or having but that stuff, you know, that changes. So I think if you're just, I feel like I've learned to just be flexible, kind of deal with what I got to deal with and keep it moving, you know?
As all of us are, yeah.
Yeah.
um,
He's like, what?
I'm sorry. Okay. You are a mother. How would you say that helps? I'm pretty sure both go hand in hand, teaching and raising these kids in and out of school, like at home.
Yeah.
How do you manage it?
Some days I don't manage it at all, or I don't feel like I'm managing it at all. Actually, last night wasn't my induction ceremony, but I was here for the joint honor society induction ceremony, and a lot of the students who may even see this or in the school I had to bring my kids because my oldest son had a baseball game last night, and my two other kids, Cole and Charlotte, 5 and 3. Very cute, but very busy. Mm-hmm. They came, and you know, I thought about like, do I not come to the event because I have to bring my kids? And I was like, I don't want to miss out on something, so I brought the kids. You know, being a mom and a teacher is a lot. It's just like juggling. They do go hand in hand, but sometimes, and this is something I talk about a lot, and I think this would probably be for any working mother. It doesn't have to be just teaching. I don't always feel like I can be 100% to everybody, you know, all the time. And so that is tough for me because I think I have and this comes back to even being in school, like kind of a type A, like I want to be perfect. I want to do everything. I want to be like 100% all the time. And then when I'm not that, or I don't feel that I'm that, like other people will be like, oh, that was great. And I'm like, no, but I'll focus on things that weren't great. Or I'm constantly, you know, I feel guilty or I put myself down. And so you guys, for students who feel that way or just like how you are in life, like I'm, you know, 37 and I'm still feeling like that. So I don't know if that makes you feel better or worse, but, you know, we juggle and we try to figure things out as we go. And I still haven't figured out how to fully accept all the things that come with all the responsibilities that I have, like meaning like I want to give 100% to being a mom, 100% being a teacher, 100% to being like a wife, a friend, family, all the things, and it's just, there's not enough time in the day. So I think I do my very best. I think I'm very in the moment. Like if I'm here, I'm here. When I'm with them, I'm with them. Do you know what I mean? And I really put in like the 100% in the moment, but it's hard to do that all the time. And it is exhausting. And I am looking, you know, I'm very sad to see you guys go. Like I'm feeling all those feelings. And I'm sad that the year's ending in a way because it's like the days are really long and the years are short. But I am also looking forward to like having that time with my kids because I feel like I need to give it back to them.
Yeah.
Recharge and then come back. You know, it's just I wish there was more time in the day. I wish there was more time to do all the things that like I love to do. But yeah, I don't know. I think I've always called my students my kids. Like it was funny yesterday when we were driving away. I kept saying, oh, to Cole and Charlotte, because they were in the car when we left last night. And I was like, oh, what'd you think about meeting my kids? And Cole goes, Mommy, where are your kids? And I'm like, no. Yeah, no, I mean, like, you're my kids, but those are my students, my student kids. And he was just very confused because he was like, what are you talking about? But I've always been like that. And I think that is just because in, like, really here, I'm an academic, but I'm also, like, a mush. Like, I love loving
Big softy,
people.
yeah.
Yeah, I really am. I mean, I try not to be sometimes but ultimately, like that's what I don't think you could still be doing this job and love this job if you didn't love people and love like you guys. So
going back, that was great advice, and like it was great of you to say that. Like you mentioned how you want to be at 100% all the time, but you can't be naturally. And a lot of us do that. Like I was just thinking about that yesterday. Like we put on a facade, essentially, and we have to be 100% for the people around us, or they won't be 100%. So it's great that you do that, and you do a great job at that, by the way. So thank you.
I try. I think you guys see through it sometimes, but you're also just as much as, and what I appreciate is just as much of like you're accepting of me when I'm in those moments as I am with you. And I think that shows, you know, that we all have to give each other grace and support. But it's really hard to ask for help. Like I always tell, like I just had a student come to me before came in here and was, you know, sharing some things and that could like, you know, wreck you. And it's like, you know, we are all going, it doesn't matter what, everybody's going through something. You don't know what anybody's going through. A lot of people who need help don't ask for it because for many different reasons. It could be pride, it could be, you know, fear, it could be, you know, all these different things. And I think we just have to be kind. You know, you want to have standards and you want to, like, I want to be perfect all the time, but I know that I can't. And so therefore, like, I know that I can't expect that from my students or the people around me. Like, I have to give them grace too. So if I want it from you guys, then I have to give it. It's like that relationship. Of course, you don't want to be taken advantage of, but it's just having that balance, I think, in relationships. And it comes with, like, I think, trust, right? When you have a relationship, you build trust. And you know when somebody is, like, playing you. You know, like,
Yeah,
you can see
naturally.
it in their eye, you know? And so I think the more honest we are, you know, in our relationships, like, all of that stuff comes naturally. So when students have come to me and said, like, I need help or I'm going through this, like, I'm not one to say no. You know, now if it's all the time, you know, you gotta figure it out. But I think that's something that you guys will figure out. I'm still trying to figure out how to manage it all. And so, you know, if I'm still doing it at my age and in like a profession of so many years, I feel like we have to kind of extend that grace to you, you know?
Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you. I feel like.
You want to do a little side or no? Like the Renaud heart?